Now, for more on this Turkish coup attempt is former State Department official David Tafuri. He was on his way to Turkey. He's in Beirut, Lebanon. Dave, tell me what you think about this situation as it's developing, what you know, and the situation in Turkey, how important it is for the U.S. and NATO allies.
Thanks, Bret. Well, it's been a really chaotic night in Turkey. Here's what we know. The military coup seems to be strong in at least two cities, Istanbul and Ankara. I'm hearing from contacts in various other cities across Turkey that the mosques are putting out announcements asking for people to go out into the streets to protest in favor of Erdogan and against the military coup. What happens next is going to depend on several factors. One of those factors is how much of the military actually supports the coup. We know they have strength in Istanbul and Ankara. We know they've got tanks in those cities. They've got jets flying, and they've got helicopters. But does the military in other parts of Turkey support the coup? Does the full military support this, or is this just a faction of the military, which is what Erdogan is claiming? We also have to wonder what is going to happen when people take to the streets to support Erdogan. Is this going to be a large protest in favor of Erdogan? Is it going to be widespread across Turkey? That's a key factor. And another question is, if that happens, how will the military respond to those protests? It has to be a very delicate response, especially if the military truly intends to take over the government of Turkey. If the military coup is going to be successful, they're going to have a very quick transition plan. Who are they going to put in power instead of Erdogan? Is it going to be someone from the AKP Islamist party, but someone who they believe to be less authoritarian? It's interesting what the military has said about why they've done this coup. They've said they've done it because Erdogan is anti-democratic. They're messaging that they intend to restore a democracy. As your previous guest suggested, there's a long history of coups in Turkey. There was a coup in 1960, there was a coup in 1971, and there was a coup in 1980, all by the military, all intended to restore the secular democracy intended by Ataturk. These are all the things that are happening, and we need to get answers to before we know exactly what will happen in Turkey.
Yeah, Dave, we are seeing these pictures of people taking to the streets, and the question is whether they are heeding Erdogan's calls to push back against this coup, or whether they are cheering on this coup to take Erdogan out. It is clear that over the last 3 years, Erdogan has been trending toward a dictatorship, really cracking down, especially on the military, putting some generals in jail. He purged the military some 3 years ago. He has cut the budgets of the military, trying to keep them in line. And he's got this buildup growing the size of the interior security forces, the intelligence forces. We're taking a look at tanks going through the streets of Ankara and Istanbul. So, Dave, the question is, if this coup does not take place, what is the situation in Turkey? Does it super empower Erdogan and make him the dictator that perhaps he was trending towards becoming anyway?
Well, you can imagine if the coup is unsuccessful and Erdogan is restored to power in the capital, in Ankara, he is going to seek out retribution against those who organized this coup. He's going to do further crackdowns on the military. He's probably going to purge the military. You referenced a very important point, which is how strong are the intelligence and police forces that he's built up? How strong are they, and how loyal are they to him? And can he use them to restore security until he's purged the military? It's going to be an interesting thing to watch happen. Another thing that Erdogan has cracked down on over the last few years is the media. He's shut down media companies that have been critical of him. Some say that there are more journalists in jail in Turkey than any other country. So there's also a question of how will he take back access to the media? How will he control the media? Or will those who organize the coup, even if they're not successful, be able to continue to message why they did the coup and message anti-Erdogan efforts through the media?
We should point out the U.S. base, Incirlik Air Base, is there in Turkey, and we are told that the military has asked all U.S. citizens in Turkey to shelter in place as this military coup or attempted coup continues. As we look at the pictures coming in from our sister network, go back to Ralph Peters. Ralph, when President Obama makes this statement about where he is in this moment, what happens if, I just asked this question to Dave, this is shut down? What is U.S. policy? Turkey is a NATO member, and how does the administration deal with this?
Well, President Obama's already taken sides. He's taken Erdogan's side. So if Erdogan comes out okay, things bumble on for our foreign policy, and Erdogan continues to Islamize Turkey. If, however, the coup, the officers behind the coup were to end up on top, they'll be anxious to mend fences. They need us. They know that.
Ralph,
but
stand by. Let me interrupt you. We're just going to take a quick break here. We're following this breaking news. Stay with us. Fox News continuing coverage